I thank the Secretary General for his briefing. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine.
Thank you very much, President. Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, distinguished leaders, representatives of states and governments, and all those who still pay attention to the work of the United Nations. We must admit the world's attention to the UN is fading. The organization has less influence, and too often there is a lack of real decisions on fundamental issues. This is exactly what we need to speak about today, about the tools that sadly are not working now. But they will work, I'm sure. They will work if you are active, if we are active, because the main tool is in your hands. First of all, I thank the Republic of Korea for this meeting of the Security Council and for the opportunity to call for peace. Today, there will be a clear call for peace in this Council. And here is one of the main distortions of our time. Whom must we call to peace, and on whom must we press to achieve it? One of the permanent members of this Council is doing everything to prolong the largest war in Europe since World War II. Russia does this with impunity, using its veto power, buying influence, and keeping peace on hold. The Russian representative is here, but of course not the one who makes the real decisions. That man fears to sit face to face with Ukraine and the world and openly admit he wants only war. Instead, Putin sends delegates who cannot and don't want to stop the bloodshed. And when he appears abroad in Beijing or somewhere else, it's only to buy more time for killing, pretending he seeks diplomacy. Putin only cares about using every meeting, every chance to keep the war going. Each day Russia kills our people, destroys our cities, and leaves no sign it will ever return to the principles of the UN Charter. China is also represented here, a powerful nation on which Russia now depends completely. If China truly wanted this war to stop, it could compel Moscow to end the invasion. Without China, Putin's Russia is nothing. Yet too often, China stays silent and distant instead of active for peace. The United States of America is present here as well, a strong nation that supports our defense, and we've said yes to every proposal from the US President for a ceasefire and talks with Russia to bring peace. But Russia always says no, or tries to confuse everyone so that even a ceasefire can't happen. And I met with President Trump just now, and we spoke about how to finally bring peace, and we discussed a few good ideas, and I hope they will work. And I'm grateful for this meeting, and we expect America's actions to push Russia toward peace. Moscow fears America and always pays attention to it. The United Kingdom is here, a permanent member of the Security Council. France is here, also a permanent member. Both nations support us, support our people, our independence. Both promote diplomacy, and both are parties to a document that was supposed to be a positive milestone, together with the other permanent members of the UN Security Council. But instead, it became a warning to the world. The Budapest Memorandum, meant to guarantee Ukraine's security in exchange for giving up nuclear weapons, failed. It proved that international promises can turn into blabbering. That is why today, with Britain, with France, and already with more than 30 nations in our coalition are willing, we are building a new security architecture. We count on the United States of America as a backstop. Real security guarantees must become the line Russia cannot cross again. Here is one example of how strength can stop war. If we could strengthen our skills with a joint system to shut down skies, with a short system to shut down Russian missiles and drones, it would force Russia to stop its attack from the sky. Because everything could be shut down, and so Putin would be forced to sit here or in another respectable venue and look for a truce on the ground. If there is no war in the sky, Russia can't keep fighting on the ground. I have talked about this with President Trump and with other leaders. Why do I say this now and here? Because you, the United States, China, Britain, France, the permanent members of the Security Council, represent the world's essential power, the power that must act when international law alone cannot. And no, not Russia. With this war, Russia has discredited itself, even for those who do not yet criticize Putin openly. They still feel that Russia's presence brings no good. Excellencies, behind every international institution, there must be real strength to enforce decisions. This is true for the Security Council and for the UN as a whole. If you stand together for ending this war, even Russia will have to obey. And if some of you act while others delay, the war goes on. Ukraine wants peace more than anyone in the world. The front is on our land, and we mourn our people, and we try to save our cities and to save our small villages. Russia ignores its dead, blind to its own losses. But one day, it will see and it will hear, and it will happen when it sees your actions, when it hears your united call for peace. That is my appeal to you today. Be the force that act together, please, united lest to stop Russia's war. And we know how to guarantee security. What we need now is a strong push to force Russia toward peace. Thank you. Slava Ukraini.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Zelensky for his briefing. I shall now make a statement in my capacity as Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea. Once again, I thank the Secretary General for his insightful briefing. I welcome the presence of President Zelensky in this meeting, and I also appreciate the participation of other countries in this important discussion. More than 3 years have passed since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The drone incident along Poland's eastern frontier 2 weeks ago is a reminder that the battlefield may no longer be confined to Ukraine, posing a threat to the peace and security of neighboring states. This conflict has had grave consequences. Indiscriminate attacks on civilians and